A very active fall weather pattern heading our way for this week. So I'm timing out when we're expecting to see the showers, when we'll see some snow, and how much we might see by the time this is all rolling through. Our first weather system actually approaching the coast into our Sunday evening. The next one a little bit farther off into the middle of the week. So we'll first track this one that has been bringing steady cloud cover increasing throughout our Sunday. Some colder air moving in with it and gusty winds at times as well. In fact, we've seen wind gusts up to about 40 miles per hour in some places in the valley. Those winds died down for tonight, but here comes the band of rain. That's what's going to really start to open things up for us as we move through this week. Like I said, more active weather headed our way for this work week and school week. Our winds will continue to die down for tonight. By the time we get to about 11 o'clock, we're only looking at winds close to about 10 miles per hour. No more of those active gusts like we saw earlier into our Sunday as that front started to approach and brought us the cloud cover, the gusty winds, and the cooler weather as well. Wind advisory, though, that's going to stay in place through tonight for the high country. We've seen gusts close to about 50 miles per hour. Could continue to see that until about 11 o'clock for tonight, and that's also elevating the fire danger out ahead of the rain and snow that will be moving our way. We still have low humidity and the gusty winds, as well as the potential for the rapid fire spread, just due to all the brush that continues to be so dry. Haven't seen really a whole lot of wet weather move through the high country, enough so to really dampen some of the fire danger that we've been seeing. And then we move into our bigger forecast here with our winter weather advisory. Now that's going to stay in place until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. You can see all the areas shaded in purple that will be under that advisory above 5,500 feet. And we could see up to 12 inches of snow in some of the higher elevations. Lower elevations down to about 5,000, 5,500 feet. Just a trace of snow to anywhere up to about an inch or so. We'll time this out through our Sunday. That band of rain just setting off to the west side of the valley, and then it starts to actively move through the valley overnight tonight through early tomorrow. Initially, we're going to see a mixed bag of rain and snow for the high country. We're still waiting for that colder air to work in at the 10 o'clock hour, but just about an hour later, this all turns over to snow, and then will continue as snow as we head into our early Monday morning. Most of the valley clears out pretty quickly. It's not going to be a huge soaker of a storm, but we'll continue to see the snow piling up in the Sierra into our early Monday forecast, and then clearing skies by the time we get to right about the noontime hour through 3 o'clock. Most of the active weather will be done at that point in the day. Our total snowfall, not bad considering that we're still early in a rainy and snowy part of this season here. Only about an inch at the lower elevations, but some of these other spots here, you can see Sonora Pass, Carson, Ebbets, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow. That being true as well for Echo and Donner. Lassen, about 8 to 12 inches of snow. Now, some of those passes are already closed out ahead of this approaching weather system, but all of those passes are subject to big travel impacts, possible delays and closures. It's that time of year we just got to call ahead before we make any travel into the high country. Before we see that turn over to snow, we'll see anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of rain for Grass Valley and South Lake Tahoe. Grass Valley, we're going to keep it as rain for this particular weather event. Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, as well as San Francisco, less than 1/10 of an inch of accumulated rainfall. But again, this is just our first weather system rolling through. It's going to be a fairly quick mover, and since it's a colder one, it tends not to be as thick with moisture. But we've got another one on the way, and that one happens to be a little bit warmer. Right now, it looks like it's going to move through during our Wednesday forecast and continue mostly as rain for the high country. That's not too big of a concern at this point. No real flooding concerns, landslides, mudslides, nothing like that. Could see a little bit of ash flows going on throughout the week, and that's just because of all the burn scars that we have currently up in the high country. The Dixie Fire, we have the Caldor Fire, the Tamarack Fire, and then a couple of fires also just south of Yosemite. Things to watch as we move through what will be on and off rain and snow showers in this week's forecast. Now, this is all kind of setting up, and in the background, what we have is now La Nina advisory. What that means is we've got the cooler water in the equatorial Pacific. That's opposite of El Nino, so we kind of get a little bit different weather pattern typically setting up. Now, this isn't a surefire bet, but what we usually see is a wetter than average pattern in the Pacific Northwest through extreme northern California, drier than average in southern California. You can see it here as I zoomed on in that storm track riding just up to the north of us, so supporting perhaps a slightly wetter than average pattern. What's happening is we get the dry sinking air right along the equatorial Pacific, allowing allowing more of the active weather to stretch in through the central Pacific and then support a bit more on the storm track, bringing those systems through northern California. That is opposite of El Nino, where we usually see perhaps a wetter than average pattern in Southern California. But keep in mind, our biggest reservoirs in California in the northern part of the state. So that active wetter than average pattern would certainly help us as we dig deeper into drought.